very important week. Some pundits would say it's arguably one of the biggest weeks of the entire year. The entire year. What will happen this week on Friday will be the start for some of you, but will be the start of something monumental. And yes, LSU baseball is one of those things, but it's not what I'm talking about. We have Valentine's Day on Friday. If you got a wife, you better take her out to go eat. And you know, it always bugs the outright shit out of me when I see people on Valentine's Day say, "Oh, you're not supposed to be spoiling your wife or your girlfriend on Valentine's Day. You're supposed to be doing it the entire year." Yeah, you're right. And the guys that do it on Valentine's Day, who take their wives out to eat every month, you go out on date nights, whatever, your boy, we don't have to work. Look, this is a day to celebrate us being together. Another one, we don't get a lot of these. It's an excuse to ask grandmama and grandpapa, can you watch the kids while we go out for Valentine's Day? It's an ultimate excuse to get away for just a little bit. But you better do the right thing, man. I'm just telling you now. You better do the right thing. Go take them out to eat. Go have a good time. Go get a bottle of wine. Live free. Life is too short. Life is too short to be worried about the small things. Money is money. You're not going to take it with you. Go enjoy your life. But speaking of Friday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, before we go out to eat, I might add, but before we go out to eat on a Friday night, there is going to be some LSU baseball on the tube. We'll talk about it here tonight. I'm going to give you what I think the lineup is going to ultimately look like. There are some spots that I might be right, might be wrong. We'll talk to John Eads from WAFB to tell me if I'm right or wrong here or not. But I think I have a pretty good grasp of where things are going to stand. We'll talk about the rotation, some things that I do think that are going to be the early lookouts for this, things that we got to see how they work, how they look, but it is opening week of baseball. And it is not missed upon me. But we do have baseball coming up, and we will talk a little bit of football before John Eads joins us because I might have to go on a little rant. But 3 weeks ago today, or 2 weeks ago today, and even I guess you could say a little bit before that, because we talked about it on a Thursday, that Matt McMahon had to have a win against Arkansas or things were going to start getting bad. It bought him some time. I don't know the status of Matt McMahon right now. I have been told by people that I trust that there are a lot of conversations being had, but I want to make this very well known. When I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and you that are in here every single night and you listen, I told you that there were a lot of powerful people talking. There is. I don't know the status of Matt McMahon. I don't know if he'll keep his job, move on. I know that there's been a lot of Will Wade talk over the last 48 hours on social media. I don't think it's the time to do that. Things are not good right now. I thought that they would be better going into year 3, which would technically be my year 2 for Matt McMahon, considering what year 1 was coming off of. This is not acceptable regardless of the situation. Being as bad as you are in conference is not an excuse. Being this bad is not an excuse. You're investing and putting in a lot to athletics, but you're about to build a new arena now. And look, I love women's basketball. Really, I do. You ain't building that and putting that in investment for just them. As we saw in an article that came out this week, by the way, LSU women's basketball under the budget, but men's basketball still profitable even in losing. So all I will say is this. You got to be competitive in all three. There have been talks this week about Scott Woodward that I've seen on social media too, about the status of him hiring. Well, he hired Brian Kelly. We ain't won a national championship yet. I think that's way too early to do that. But that's just me. And look, I don't get many football seasons. Guys, if I work for 30 years, I get 30 football seasons, right? I want as many of them as we can get. But one thing I do know for sure, the Jay Johnson and Kim Mulkey hire are massive. Sorry, to me, they're massive. He got 2 national titles the second year of coaches that he hired. So he's going 2 for 4 at LSU. Okay. The Jimbo Fisher thing was brought up. Well, what about Chris Peterson? So I'm not going to get in the ironic or what I perceive to be a little bit interesting conversation with some about Scott Woodward. I think you're crazy at the current moment. He's got to make some better hires, and the Matt McMahon was not successful. In reference to Matt McMahon, I will just say this. I have heard a lot of people talking, a lot of people, and people who have the funds to do what they need to do. So we'll see. I still want to believe and trust in Matt McMahon that he could lead this in the right direction. It will be very, very interesting. Okay. So we got a lot we have to discuss. Oh, and one position group I know we talked about offensively. Our defensively, I thought would stand out. Some things I'm hearing offensively. Is this receiver room starting to come together and make some noise early in the offseason? A month away from camp, by the way. So in way less than 30 days, guys, we're about 3.5, maybe 4 weeks away. Guys, we'll be out here talking a lot of football and spring football, so it's not that far away. But one position group that I also hear that stood out a little bit. All right, let's get rolling. What the comments looking like? You know, we got to get to a couple of these before. Did he hire the gymnastics coach too? I mean, yeah. So 3 national titles. I mean, the only thing that you could say about gymnastics was he was already on staff, but you still made the hire. Tyler Townsend, good to have him in here. I hadn't seen Tyler in a while. He says, let's go from the 3-1-8. Finally, the time is here. It's baseball season. So there you go. Tyler Townsend in here for baseball season. I don't get to see Tyler much during football season. Tyler, why is that? Toss Dive on YouTube says, I'm taking my wife to Hawaii in April. We're not doing spit for Valentine's Day. See, Toss Dive, that's an exception, right? Like, that's an exception to the rule. You make a big trip like that, you get the exemption, right? Like that's a big exemption. Speaking of April, we're going to the beach in April too. I do think that a lot of you are going to like what we're going to do in April. We're going to do a week's worth of Rogan-style podcasts is the goal. Maybe not 3 hours, but just conversations. I'm going to try to bring in some very interesting people here, so that would be fun. That's the plan. Chance Babin says, huge – and I don't normally share my plans out here like that. Somebody's going to steal that. You watch. Somebody's going to steal it. Chance Babin says, huge game this weekend, LSU women versus Texas. That is very, very, very true. Chance also says Scott Woodward made the Jay Clark hire or head coach too. So 3. It's just not the ones that I think everybody truly wants. Tyler says, I'm here all year, just can't comment every show. Well, I feel you, Tyler. I feel you. The hat that Tyler made us is going to make its way back out to spring football this year. That is our hat that we wear every single week or every single day that we're out there at practice. So good to have you in here, Tyler. All right, let's get rolling here. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Should all those groups, if you're on Facebook, into all those social media pages, you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Coming up on that 10K. I appreciate it. Share it all. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Also, you know, your boy made some money with Underdog Fantasy last night. The Super Bowl was yesterday. But you can go over to Underdog Fantasy. College basketball, NBA is underway. Are you going to bet a little bit more on the Lakers now that Luka Doncic has made his way to L.A.? Go to Underdog Fantasy today. You can use the promo code AYS for your chance to win $1,000, and you also get a free pick. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code AYS. Let me get to a quick break. Lots to discuss. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this today on social media, but Oklahoma State baseball tweeted a photo, Instagrammed a photo, whatever you call it. They got a dude on their team that's absolutely jacked. I know steroids when I see it. This big Mark McGuire looking son of a gun. Oh, college baseball is back. I am very, very pumped up for it. But got some football we need to get to in just a moment. I want to throw this out your way. I did see a comment from Twitter about Matt McMahon. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not putting my foot or I'm not putting myself in that ring. I don't know yet. I just know that there are people that have pull and connection that are not happy at all. So I like Matt McMahon a lot. I really do. I cannot say this enough. Liking a guy, the production that's on the court right now, it's unjustifiable. So I'm just telling you what I know to be very true. Okay. So we talked about this. Spring football is only 30 days away. Minus a couple days, I guess. But March the 8th will be out there. I wanted to bring this up because it was something interesting that happened this weekend and just talking to some people. Obviously, the Super Bowl was in New Orleans. A lot of connections were made. You know, Jaden Daniels was in town. Joe Burrow was in town. By the way, the NFL honors every year just continues to become an NFL LSU invitational. The NFL honors, for what it's worth, every time I look up, there's somebody from LSU there that's representing. Whether it be Joe and the comeback player of the year, I do think he was robbed for MVP. That's just me. Or it be Jaden Daniels, the offensive rookie of the year. Or you have Jamar Chase that's there. You have Justin Jefferson, who I do think that was not fully not under the influence when he presented his award, or I think it might have been the Randy Moss thing. So I don't know if he presented an award, but you know the time that I'm talking about. But there's a room this weekend and just some things that I had heard about going 30 days into this that I think that the entire coaching staff, and not only the coaching staff, that the team is really intrigued by. We talked about defensively it being the outside backers with Pat Payton and Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, and what do you do ultimately? Do you move Perk to star or not? Does he rush the passer? How does that look in its entirety? Offensively, I think it's the receiver core. Now, we talked about this a lot in the position that I think that had the ultimate high floor, but the ultimate floor ceiling. We actually talked about that 2 weeks ago, and we talked about it a lot when Barry and Brown came here. I know LSU clipped the soundbite of us on their hype video, but receiver is very interesting. You know, Brian Kelly was asked about Nick Anderson last week, and Brian Kelly did not mince words early. We knew he was hurt. We knew that he was rehabbing, and he had some ways to go here. But the upside is too big for a guy like that. It's basically what Brian Kelly said. Okay, sounds good. I think the potential that you have in that room is otherworldly in some regards here. You bring in Nick Anderson. We do not know what we don't know, and we probably won't find out a lot during spring because of the injury, what he can produce for you. But seemingly seeing how he comes back is something that you have to monitor. But even if he is and does come back remotely close, and I'm going to hope for the best here with that. I don't know if he will or won't. We'll see during spring if he gets out there, and we'll certainly see that during the fall. But one thing is for sure, 6'4", 220 pounds, that can really run, was really big in the red zone, a place that you massively struggled. A guy that can high point the football or run a quick slant and be physical enough, a guy that's got strong hands and can use his body to shield off defenders. It's what he did at Oklahoma, and it's how Oklahoma, quite frankly, at the end of the game, beat a playoff team in Texas 2 years ago. He was the reason at the end of the game on that fade route in the back of the end zone that had the strong hands. I look at him, and then I look at Barry and Brown. When I look at Barry and Brown, I see a guy that was not, in my humble opinion, I don't know if he was put in the right positions to be able to have the success that he could ultimately have at receiver. You're talking about a guy that has more impact from a touchdown perspective standpoint outside of the receiving game than you do him actually being and having opportunities to do it as a wide receiver. You could say he's been gimmicky. He's returned kicks. He's had some jet sweeps. But, man, I think that you look at a guy like that and say, now when you have a little bit more structure and a guy that, quite frankly, can throw you the football better than Brock Vandagriff, what do you become? The best year he had with Will Levis, and you can have your own opinions about Will Levis, is Garrett Nussmeier better than Will Levis? That is the question that you'll ultimately ask. And do you just have better offensive structure around it? I think that you do. And then you bring back two guys that did have some serious production last year. I say serious production, but good production for you. At the end of the season, Chris Hilton, while healthy and fully back, had 3 receiving touchdowns in the last 2 games. Put him in bubble wrap. It's like Nick Anderson. The high ceiling that you have, if healthy, is astronomical. And then you have Aaron Anderson, who I'm just going to call it the way that I see it, that I thought was your number 1 receiver a year ago. And he did not get the targets that he deserved. He did not get the production that he deserved. He didn't get the overall looks that he deserved. But Aaron Anderson definitely took a step forward as the first year as a starter. The former 5-star was really explosive in games like Florida and like Texas A&M, where he took the slant 70-plus to the house. I hear that the work that is going on in the receiving room at the current moment is what you would expect from a high competitive, high work ethic, and quite frankly, all guys that want to be number 1 but haven't technically on the paper proven that they're the number 1. I see a team that has a team at receiver that has had guys that have shown that they can have high production, but just does not and has not put it all together yet. We've seen massive leaps in year 2s and year 3s from guys at this position. Well, now you got a quadruple amount of them, all that have the potential to be NFL players. Some of them have the potential to be great. But what are their ceilings going to be here? Is the play calling going to be effective enough? Is the run game going to be effective enough to be able to open some things up for them? I do not know. The 7-on-7 work this year is more important than it's ever been. The stuff that you'll see in 7-on-7 and what you'll especially and more see in team periods during the spring has never been more elevated than it is this year. You're bringing so many unknowns outside of Aaron Anderson in here. So many unknowns. But, man, I got to tell you, I keep hearing Barian Brown's name a lot. I keep hearing Chris Hilton's name a lot. Got to stay healthy and got to have production receiver. Unknowns. But, man, if you're going to be a playoff team, that quadruple core has got to show out. That's not even mentioning what you're going to do at tight end. Man, if this thing comes together, offensively, if this thing comes together, the sky could be the limit. I don't know if you have the play calling. I think that you have so much potential. I could make the argument, and you know that I don't like being bullish about this kind of stuff now. I could make the argument right now that if you told me that LSU was a playoff team in 2025, then that means that a receiver, Nick Anderson, started to hit. Barian Brown, Aaron Anderson took another step forward from the one that he made previously a year ago. Did Chris Hilton stay healthy? And when he was healthy and bombs over Baghdad started happening from Garrett Nussmeier, it was the last pair of games were the most comfortable that Garrett Nussmeier had been. Chris Hilton was in the game. When you were able to take the top off of defenses and you had the consistency, Chris wasn't jumping too soon or the ball was accurate. Special things happened. Now you have speed in Aaron Anderson and Barian Brown. What are you going to do? If these guys stay healthy, just even in the decoy point of it, man, you might have to go two-man high. And you better pray to sweet baby Jesus. You've built a team that's got speed. I don't know if Jelani Watkins, as an example, comes back to football after what he's been doing in track. I do not know. What I do know is that's your fifth, sixth option now. Kyle Parker. But it's bombs over Baghdad that you're trying to hit here. I keep hearing a lot about that receiver room, the work ethic. I keep hearing about Nick Anderson and Barian Brown and Chris Hilton. Those are the three that I keep hearing the most about. Nick Anderson, Barian Brown, Chris Hilton. I mean, Chris, even if it's not me being the one that come out here and say this, the Twitter stories, the back in the 5 a.m., back in the gym. Okay, good. Good. So we'll see here. All right, John Eads joins us in about 5 minutes. I did tell him 7:35, but I want to get this in to move on to the next thing here. I wanted to get to this. I always have done this, and I've always done it on like Thursdays. I'm just going to knock it out of the way this year. I could be completely wrong. This spring, rather, I have not been out there to see a game, so I don't know. Here's my opening day lineup. Are you ready? And John Eads is going to tell me if he thinks I'm crazy. Chris Stansfield in center, leading off. Derek Curiel, left field, and batting second. Jared Jones first. Luis Hernandez catching fourth. Stephen Milam, shortstop, third base. Make the argument I don't give two Rudy Poos. But he'll be in there. Danny Dickinson at second. Braswell, shortstop, third. Jake Brown in right. I'm interested to hear what John Eads has to say about that. And here's the one I just threw out the wall at DH. I think they go Tanner Reeves or Blaze Priester. Pick one. I think that's their opening day lineup. I think that's what they're going to run out. But John Eads is going to join us in just a minute. It is officially baseball week, so we're going to get to that. One thing that I've noticed that I want to get to him on has been this rotation has kind of worried me outside of Cade Anderson. You're in 3 weeks. You've got a long season to go. So I'm not worried or freaked out about it, but it continues to point out here. Your bullpen has some arms, but, man, I still feel like there's been some struggles in some areas. And then, look, I gave you my lineup, but I still think that I've left off 4 or 5 guys that can be in there. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get to a quick break. John Eads, WAFB, who's been a solid for us, joins us next. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. John Eads, WAFB, 3 weeks in a row. He's been doing amazing coverage, covering the LSU baseball Tigers. Good evening, good sir. How are you? We got you muted. Hold on.
No, that was me. I want to make sure people weren't hearing me behind the scenes, getting the last-minute preps ready. I'm good. Thanks for having me again, as always. I appreciate it. Another week in the books. There's no week 4 of preseason, Blake, because week 4 is week 1 of the season. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I was walking out of the box on Sunday. It was only a 3-inning scrimmage, and I was hungry for more. I think there were a lot of fans there. Everybody was kind of like, are they done already after 3 innings? I think everybody's just chomping at the bit. There were big lines for autographs after the scrimmage. And here we go. It's coming up on Friday, man. It's going to be a big day on campus. Good luck getting a parking spot. Really just driving anywhere.
I agree. I hope the weather stays moderately fair here. 66 is not bad.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not like it was last year when it was 41 degrees and slightly sleeting at your ass a year ago. John, I got to come out the gate. I came up with my lineup going into the season. Tell me if I'm right, wrong. Okay?
Yeah, run through it again because I was doing laundry real quick. I was listening in the back of my ear.
Chris Stanfield, and this is in no particular order. Center field, Derek Curiel in left. Jared Jones at first. Luis Hernandez behind the plate. Stephen Milam short or third, doesn't matter. Danny Dickinson, Michael Braswell, Jake Brown in right.
Yeah.
Here's a wild name. At DH, I'm going to go Tanner Reeves.
I heard that. Yeah.
I'm being a little hot takey.
Yeah.
I'm being a little hot takey here. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know that Reeves will be the day one DH. I think he will be in the lineup throughout the season. I think they're going to use him in the field because he's a really good infielder. He made some really good plays over the weekend there, but he was also an on-base machine. Like this guy, every time he got an AB, at least on Sunday, he was walking. Like I know he's got a little bit of pop in his bat. He's a good contact guy, but he takes really good ABs. And I think Jay Johnson and the staff really value that. That's why a guy like Ashton Larson played so much last year, because every time he's up there, doesn't matter if he starts 0-2, he's going to be up there for like 10 pitches. He's going to foul off 4, take some really close balls, and then find a way to get on base. So I like Tanner Reeves. I don't know day one, but certainly throughout opening weekend, it wouldn't surprise me if he started or entered the game and played a little bit of second base. I like the lineup. Tell you what, the lineup I saw on, Saturday was unbelievable. Like, they were bashing the ball everywhere, which probably isn't a good sign for the pitching, but I just think it was better offense on this particular day because the pitching has dominated some days of these preseason scrimmages. And I wrote down what this lineup was because I swear to you, every time they were up, they were producing top, middle, bottom. So Chris Stanfield, 1. Derek Curiel behind him. Jared Jones at 3. Before I give you the rest, let me just say that Curiel and Jones hit back-to-back home runs.
I saw that
in the first inning of the scrimmage. And I wish I got them on video, but they hit them so well I could not find the ball among the clouds. And it was not a good day for me camera-wise. But I swear it happened. And there are a lot of other people there that can back me up on that. So that's 1, 2, 3. Josh Pearson at 4. Daniel Dickinson, 5. Jake Brown, 6. Luis Hernandez, 7. Stephen Milam, 8. And then Michael Braswell, the 3rd, 9. So something interesting with that order, someone pointed this out to me on social media, it's alternating right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then you got Milam who's at left or right. And that's awesome. And all of these guys, too, they've got pop, they've got power. They're all super athletic. They can steal bases. So top to bottom, that is one heck of a batting order. And that doesn't include a guy like Ashton Larson, Ethan Fry, Dalton Beck, Tanner Reeves. Like, it just speaks to the depth of this team. It's unbelievable. Kate Interbeatty, too, of course.
Yeah, and listen, in reference to Pearson, there's a way, and I threw him off there on purpose to kind of start some shit, but that's either here nor there. You got to roll with Josh.
Yeah.
Look, man, he's been here. I mean, look, man, and another thing, too, he also hit a bomb when last time you won a College World Series. He's been around. I know he's had his struggles, but I remember the A&M series from last year when he hit the double in the left and the left down the line, and you wind up beating A&M at home, and that kind of propelled you to what you would do going in the SEC tournament weekend.
Yeah,
so I'm with you there. I don't mind it. I don't know where Jay's going to put guys that, it is what it is. But it is interesting the way that he did right, left, right, right, left, and went on. Jake Brown's pretty much solidified. I know you talked about Ashton Larson a little bit in there, but it seems like Jake Brown being completely red hot the last 2 weekends. I mean, he pretty much won the job as of right now, the way he's been hot this preseason, you would assume, correct?
I think so. And honestly, he's a guy that in the back of my head, I'm like, man, we are not talking enough about him. But really, I hadn't seen much, at least in the first week and then in the fall, because he was pitching a little bit too and focusing on that as possibly something he does this year. But he really woke everybody up this weekend. He had 7 consecutive hits. He went 7 for 7, 7 of 8 for the weekend. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Like that's like stuff you do in Hoover, right? Or in Omaha, like just getting hot like that. So that was really cool to see. He's put on some good muscle since last year. I think it was between 10 to 15 pounds. And you can see it. He fills out the uniform a little bit better. He said that himself about the strength coach, Chris Martin, who's a really good guy. I think he's a great asset for this program. And the staff really, really wanted to get him. And they did just that. So I think he's a lock. He's been playing mostly right field. Played a lot of right field last year. So I'm sure we'll see him out there. And he does it all, man. Singles, doubles, opposite field, home runs down the right side. I mean, I would get excited about Jake Brown in his sophomore season, building on what he did as a freshman, which was a good year.
What's up with Ashton Larson?
It's just a matter of there's not enough positions. There's only 3 guys that can play outfield at once. And Jay Johnson said this in our last media availability. He looked out there during a defensive drill, and he saw 8 guys, and he's like, I wouldn't mind playing any one of them. But obviously you can't play 8 outfielders at once. But again, we've talked about this many times on this show already, the depth that this team has. So Larson's a guy that can start on a Saturday, on a Friday. If someone's, obviously injured or going through a little bit of a slump, Larson's like, if there's a 6-man in basketball, like kind of thing for baseball here, like he probably is that guy of the year. The first guy off the bench that is extremely talented like that. So he's a starter-worthy guy. Jay said at the Rotary Club when he spoke to those people over there, that there's an outfielder or a returnee on this team that is really good that essentially, I'm paraphrasing, they can't find playing time for as much as they would probably like this year. But that player has accepted that and has grown a lot mentally. I think Ashton was already a mentally strong guy. I wonder if he was talking about Ashton or if it was another player. It would make sense, though, because he played a lot last year, and the natural progression is for you to continue getting more playing time and growing as a player, freshman to sophomore year and beyond. And I just don't know if he's going to get those opportunities this year to the highest degree because they brought in guys from the portal, and they have so much talent in that outfield, and only 3 could play at once.
Jay opened his press conference on Friday saying, I just got out of a meeting where I told a kid that, look, we have a plan for you. But, I mean, he brought it up again on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's using – look, I'm going to call it like I see it. You know me well enough, I think, to know – I'm going to call it like I see it. All that thing was Friday was him trying – I hope my players see this. I hope every one of them see it. It was a players coach interview. And I'm like, man, some of this stuff you can't post. Listen. He was talking to his team through us. I don't give two Rudy Poos what anybody tells me. Friday felt like a press conference from Jay that a coach that feels like he's about to be really damn good, and he needs buy-in. That's what he needs because he sees the talent. I'm going to lead you down a little bit, a couple more of these other guys that we don't think that are going to start here very quickly. Mm-hmm. Ethan Fry. Yeah. I mean, you're going into year 3 here. You saw some starts last year. Not been a really great start to the spring, you would assume.
Well, he had a really good weekend, actually.
Okay.
I think he could be a great candidate for that DH role, kind of like Pearson, because he's got a good bat. He had a triple, 2 RBI triple, an RBI single. I think he went 3 for 3 on Saturday. He had a really good day. So he's been making a push, kind of realizing the clock's ticking here. I don't have a lot of time. I've been at LSU for a minute. Played a little bit last year. I want to lock down one of these starting jobs, but it's just so hard when you got Curiel and Stanfield and Brown and Larson and Pearson. The names just go on and on and on. So I think he's a guy that, could be used in a pinch hit situation if he's not starting a game. But these are startable players. You've got 6 to 8 startable outfielders. You wouldn't look at the lineup and go, it's a little bit of a liability. These are really good players that probably will be starting at most other college programs, but you've got this accumulation of talent here. I will say he did have a couple struggles defensively. He missed a catch on a gapper, the left center, that I saw Curiel catch. Like, he made that play, like a line drive to left center. Fry couldn't get it. Also a Jake Brown kind of shallow line drive that probably could have been a catch on a little bit of a diving effort. So maybe the defense isn't there, and that's why he's not getting the PT that he would hope. But you can't dispute the offense, and he showcased that this past week. So I'm sure that there's some kind of a role for him. And that's the overlying message here. And you've heard this. Jay kind of saying we have a lot of guys on this team that can contribute, right? We could use 15 pitchers. We could use 20 guys in a game. Everyone's going to have a specific, minute role. Some guys that's more specific than others. Like for Fry, hey, we need you to come in and pinch hit in the 7th, get us an RBI, for example. I think a lot of guys are going to have little niches on this team they need to execute, but putting it all together will culminate in something great this year.
I mean, think about this. Hayden Travinski and Bear Jones both had, in your championship year, were on the bench in critical moments and both had double-digit home runs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, think about that for a minute. So when you're talking about stacked, it's a different way about it, but it's still there. I mean, do you have it? Last thing on players before we just talk about team and weekend. I mean, Derek Curiel, I don't know what else to say at this current moment. I hope the young man, I don't want to say this in a wrong way because I don't mean it wrong. Mm-hmm. When there's so much expectation on a freshman, I worry because, I mean, the hype is real at the current moment, and the kid just keeps producing. He's a freshman coming in and batting in the 2-hole. He hadn't moved. So, I mean, look, man, that is a special feat here now.
I'm not worried at all. Like, I think all these preseason pundits' expectations he's going to meet because every time I've seen him play, he's met them for me. Like it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, all right, Curiel's batting. Show me something here. And he does every time defensively. He shows you something. He makes the catches. He makes the routine outs look routine, right? And then from an offensive standpoint, I mean, he crushed a home run, like I mentioned, over the weekend. He's been consistently putting barrel on ball. He was mentioned as the #1 QAB guy on the team by Jay Johnson. I mean, that speaks for itself. On Sunday, he had a play where he decided to bunt. He didn't decide. I mean, it was predetermined, but he made it look like he just decided to. He just put the bat in there, bunted last second, ran to first easily, and beat the throw. Like, he's just such a talented athlete. If he doesn't have the defense one day, he'll have the offense. If he doesn't have the offense one day, he'll have the defense. If he doesn't have the hitting one day, he'll have the base running. He's just got to walk and get on base. I've said this before. I'll say it again. He's going to make an impact every game. And in some games, he's going to impact it in every facet. He's going to make some incredible catches. He'll hit a double. He'll hit a home run. He'll steal 2 bags. You know, he'll bunt a guy in. You know, he's going to do something crazy very often this year. He's not your average freshman, and that's why he was picked as the preseason freshman of the year. That's why he's come into a program of the caliber of LSU and already made a name for himself, bigger than guys that have been here for 2 or 3 years.
I lied. One other thing, I know we've spent a lot on the outfield, but I think there's just so much unknown at the current moment from like actual in-game. Every time you post a video, I feel like Chris Stanfield is on base, he steals, and he's scoring.
Yeah.
It's over and over. I mean, like, listen, I marked this down. I went back and looked. You have posted a video every single week of Chris Stanfield getting on base, a steal or a double steal, and then the very next at bat, he's coming home because it's a hit, ball on the ground. I mean, listen, man, that's a big deal. That's a massive deal. How has he looked? Because look, a lot of people thought that Jake Brown, Ashton Larson, there was going to be a competition with Stanfield coming in at center field. No, there isn't. I mean, not right now. Thoughts on Chris?
Yeah, I wrote down here, Chris Stanfield, on-base weapon, quote, agitator. I did an interview with Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball, and that's what he said Chris Stanfield is. He's an agitator on base because he really makes you think. Like, Dalton Beck was pitching on Sunday, and he stared down Stanfield for a good 8 seconds. I was like, is he going to pitch the ball or what? I mean, come on here. Because he knew he was going to steal. Everybody knows he's going to go, right? And you still can't get him out. You still can't pick him off because he's so disciplined and fast. He runs like sub 4.4 easily. I've heard from people inside the clubhouse.
Yeah, I like that now.
They put the catapult on him, and I can only imagine what those numbers are. You know, the thing that tracks the speed and stuff. Yeah. Like, he's the fastest guy on the team, though. I think the strength coach also said Jake Brown and Curiel are in that top 3. But he's the fastest guy. Nobody's been able to get him out. I asked Luis Hernandez, has he been able to get Chris Stanfield out when he's throwing to second on a steal? He has not been able to do that. He is the prototype leadoff guy because he walks, he gets on base, but he does it in a lot of different ways. He also is adding the offensive elements to his game. He led Auburn in multi-hit games last year. He hit 276. He came to LSU to further that offense, just like Michael Braswell, who also was pretty good in that leadoff spot last year. But if he gets on base, he's probably getting home. Like, there were many times on Sunday, and I'll probably post these clips now that we're talking about it, where he would walk, steal, pitch in the dirt, takes third. Wild pitch, he's home. Like, all the way around, just using his legs. And the batter didn't even have to do anything. Just stand in there and take the pitches, right? So he's going to be unbelievable. If he adds a little bit of power to his game, he'd be the full package player. But he is the perfect guy to bat leadoff, in my opinion. And when they get him on base, expect a lot of steals, expect a lot of hit and runs, expect a lot of aggression, especially when you got Curiel at 2 and then Jared Jones to send them all in that 3 spot. If he doesn't, Pearson will.
Very interesting. So thoughts on the weekend. We've done this every week. I know I've brought out some specific players. I thought I'd spice things up because basically what I do is I just call you in here and I say, hey, what happened? But good we had this conversation before. John, what was the biggest thing for you this weekend when you just like look at it? I mean, you're in week 3. I mean, you're not now. It's this week. I mean, we're getting ready to go here. What was the biggest thing that stood out to you?
I think the team's ready to go, man. I mean, I was really impressed by the offense. That was the best I'd seen the offense, top to bottom, at least, you know, the expected lineup and stuff of any preseason weekend. in my opinion. Like, they were just steadily producing and doing it in a lot of different ways. And then Stephen Milam playing shortstop had some excellent plays, like the type of plays you'd see him make in April and May last year. I was talking to my buddy Tristan Monty. Otherwise, I would have had this clip. And I love chatting with people. Sometimes I miss a clip because I'm in a conversation. It just happens. Can't be two at once, you know. So he backhanded it, kind of shifting over from that shortstop spot, turned around, threw it to second, double play. I posted these clips. He also had several throws on the run, whatever it is, shuffling, shortstop to first. Remember, I had that little diatribe a couple weeks ago about people in my comment section about Milam not being able to throw from short. I haven't heard from them in the last 2 weeks. They've been very quiet. It's been kind of crickets on there. I even tried to rile them up yesterday, and I haven't seen anybody in the mentions because the video speaks for itself. So people that wanted to doubt Stephen Milam, it's just dumb. It's trying to drive a boat that has no motor. You know, you're just not going to go anywhere. So that's kind of how that went. Other big takeaways, Maverick Rizzi. This guy, you've heard of him, right? 6'9", 253 pounds. Like,
got a cousin in the Major League Baseball or in Major League.
Who is it?
He said it today on his. You know, they do these things. The interesting thing about me, Rizzi said that his he's got a cousin in Major League Baseball.
I believe it. Shoot, I mean.
But anyway, Maverick Rizzi, 6'8".
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, kind of like reminds me of Chase Shores, big, tall guy, but throws high velocity. I saw the fastest he pitched was 95, but I wasn't looking every single pitch. I'm sure he could hit triple digits on a fastball or something. But he had a 1-2-3 inning to close what ended up being the last inning of the scrimmage, and it was against that good lineup for LSU. I posted that video on my social media account. For some reason, I had yet to see him ever pitch, and I had been at every scrimmage. I think what happens is sometimes I got to dip out 7th, 8th inning, and then I guess he comes in the 8th or the 9th and pitches. So maybe they'll look to use him in maybe something like that closing role this year, you know, because big, strong guy, good pitch selection, good velocity, could be an intriguing arm out of the bullpen you use in the 8th or 9th inning, you know. So that was something I took note of. Jaden Newt was back out there for a start. He went 3 innings, 2 strikeouts, 2 hits, 2 runs and a walk. I thought he looked really good. There was one wild pitch where a run was scored, but he would have been perfect on the day, I think, from a run standpoint, if a ball that was hit out to center field wasn't dropped by the center field. I think he was trying to shade the sun away. If that gets caught, he's out of that inning and there's no run scored. So I thought he looked good this week. I thought he looked good last week. He might be a guy that competes for that Sunday job or comes in out of the bullpen and pitches 3-4 innings there. So that's a name that a lot of people were excited about at a high school, but hasn't done a whole lot yet. Could do some damage this year. Here we go. 2 more big notes, I think. Cade Anderson's a Friday guy. That's a quick hitter. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. We've talked about that already. He's your guy. He's looked the best. Luis Hernandez, I think, is your starting catcher, without a doubt. He's been the most solid from a framing standpoint, stopping the ball standpoint, throwing to second, and obviously he's really good at the plate as well. So he's a good 2-way option for you. He's a veteran guy. Jay Johnson's going to lean on him. He's exceeded all the expectations defensively from what they hoped he would be. So I know I've talked a lot about Cade Arambidi, and he's going to factor into this a lot this season. Blaze Priester, too, will as well. But I think Hernandez is your guy day one. And then Jay Johnson in that press conference we were just talking about, he was probably talking to Chase Shores indirectly. He made the comparison from Chase to Gage Jump. And this was really I liked hearing this. This was encouraging for me because I've seen Chase Shores a lot, and I haven't seen what I've wanted to see consistently. But Jay Johnson made the comparison to Gage when he had Tommy John. He came from UCLA. Nobody really knew how good he was except for Jay. And it took him a little bit of time. By the end of the season, he was your guy on the mound with the ball, ending the game for you against North Carolina. Like, if he strikes that last batter out, you're into the Super Regional. It's because of Gage Jump.
You're hosting.
Who was on the mound. Exactly. So I think he compared Chase to Gage in that it's going to take a little bit of time. He may not have the stuff right now, but he's got all the tools he needs. He's just got to get back in the flow of things, get over some mental hurdles. In March, you may not like what you see from Chase Shores, but come April and May, he's going to be hitting on all cylinders and going to be a key contributor for them. Kind of like Thatcher Hurd. Maybe not as soon as we would have liked Thatcher Hurd to find himself last year, but he was a really good pitcher for them in Hoover and then in the SEC tournament or NCAA tournament. So I think Chase Shores could be a similar kind of thing. He's not an opening weekend starter, but come the first week of April, late March, SEC play, he might be one of those guys because he has what it takes, and he's done it before.
So who do you think they go? Cade Anderson, who's your Saturday, Sunday guy if you had to throw it out there?
Man, that's the thing. I'm very sure about Cade. As far as Saturday goes, it could be so many different guys, and Jay's done a really good job keeping it under wraps. We've seen Anthony Ianson pitch on Friday. We've seen Connor Ware pitch on Friday, not necessarily starting, but coming out of the bullpen. It's just so hard to say. I mean, Zach Cowan's had some starts, been a little up and down. Gavin Guidry started a couple of games. So outside of Cade, I don't really know right now, to be honest with you. I'm looking up and down the list, and it could be any number of a couple of different guys. I think that they've had Zach starting. He will be one of those three. Cowan from Wofford, maybe the Sunday guy. For some reason, my instincts have been telling me that the Saturday dude's going to be Anthony Ianson, if that means anything. But that's the thing. It's just there's so many different names it could be. It's not like last year where it's you have two and then I don't know who the third is. It could be 5 or 6 guys. I don't know which 3 you're going to pick outside of Cade. So
going to be very, very, very interesting. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's my feeling at the current moment. I don't think they know.
Well, Jay says he knows. Now, when I say that, he knows for this weekend, but he doesn't. He's got a lineup, and then he's got a whole other lineup that he thinks it's gonna be. So
no, I don't think he knows.
Yeah,
I mean, again, for the weekend. What I'm trying to say is the underlying, like, who's going to be our Saturday guy, like who's going to be our Sunday guy, and I think that they're going to throw out a lot out there. What about Jacob Myers? How has he been?
Yeah, he's been out there a little bit, out of the bullpen, not starting, not extending much. So I don't see him as a starter. I see him as a guy, at least to start the season, but I see him as a guy that comes out of the pen. Let me backtrack to that last question. I think you got to start Shores. Because if you want him to get to where you want him to be, he's got to take his lumps. Like, he's got to learn the lessons to get better. And he's not going to get better sitting in the bullpen, right? So you got to put him in there. So I think that he's a starter opening weekend, maybe Sunday. And then Zach Cowan's another starter because he throws a lot of strikes. He stays ahead of hitters. And that's what you want out of a starter. Early in counts winning, just like Cade Anderson. High strike guy, high volume, good length. He did a lot of that at Wofford. So those would be my picks. Myers is one of those several guys who started a lot at a smaller school and has had some good moments in the preseason, but I haven't seen a lot of. So he's one of those dudes that could come in and pitch 2 or 3 innings out of the pen. There's a bunch of those kind of guys.
I would throw Chase. If you're asking me my opinion, that does not matter outside of people that want to listen to baseball content. For Jay, this does not matter clearly. I'm throwing Chase out there. I know it's been rough.
Yeah,
I've seen it. But I'm throwing it out there on Saturday and saying to myself, listen, let's be prepared if it doesn't work. Like, let's be prepared. But we should be able to out-hit, and we should be able to do some things to where we can go out here and risk some stuff early and see how it works. And then if it works, great and good. And if it doesn't, well, you start getting your answer. Zach Cohen and Anthony Ianson are interesting to me. I don't know what they do there, but the Sunday definitely that will be interesting for sure.
Can I say something about Shores?
Say again. I'm sorry.
Can I say something about Shores?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
While he has been erratic, if he can just get through the first inning or two with little to no damage, like he gets to 2 outs easily and quickly. The problem is ending these innings, especially the first couple of his start. Once he gets in the flow, he's good. Like
once his arm starts getting a little bit more tired,
yeah.
Right?
Well, it's kind of like a shooter. You see that first 3 drop, you don't miss again the rest of the day. I think that's kind of the key for Chase Shores. Get the first inning or 2 done. He's got a great defense behind him if things go into the field and he can't strike them out. Just get through the first 2 innings, and he's going to give you a really good day. So I don't know if we'll see that against Purdue Fort Wayne, but that's the key. If you roll him out there as your Saturday starter, long as you can get through the first 2, Chase Shores will have a great performance. And that's kind of the biggest key, I think, for him all season long, is just getting off to a good start.
Yeah, in NBA 2K, when you remember Do you remember when they had college basketball when you could play with your player in college basketball?
Yeah,
UCLA point guard. Everybody wants to be the 3-point guy. You know what I was? I was the guy that could get to the basket, and out physical people, because all y'all try to play in the same style. The reason I bring that up is I would always, when I go in for a layup a couple times, go up for a dunk, but then midway through that second quarter, I hit you with a little step back, free throw, mid range, bam. You can't stop it. I say that to say you're right on the confidence. You're right on his confidence. It has all been with 2 outs. But what worries me there more than anything is that's a conditioning issue, right? And you never know. You like, how much work has he put in the offseason? I think it's look, man, it's one thing to do a bullpen with 35, 45, 50 pitches. It's another thing when you're having to get guys out and it's different, and then you start getting tired at the end of this. The kid's got talent. I'd throw him out there on Saturday, and Jay Johnson, if you care anything about me, then just say, okay, I just gave his opinion. Last thing I would ask you here, it is here. Is there anything that we have not discussed, or that it's something that stood out to you that we just haven't discussed? Like, maybe not the biggest thing, but something that, like, you think could be a storyline going into the season that we're just not talking about?
Man, I think we've done a really good job of covering everything. Maybe the SEC schedule lines up better this year. Okay. I think last year, non-conference, they were 20-2, whatever it was, looking really good. And then they get into conference play and they're kicking it off against some of the most difficult teams in the conference. Whereas with this year, you start with Missouri, a team that is typically not loaded with talent, and that's at the box. So after your last, big non-conference midweek, whatever, Tuesday against Xavier, you get Missouri. Then you go to Texas. That'll be difficult. Then you're back at home against Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, at Auburn. I mean, you don't see Tennessee until late April. You don't see Alabama till mid-April. A&M is the first week of May. So I think, and we may have touched on this before, but I think the schedule sets up differently and in a better way this year. It's not going to be perfect. Like, going to Texas, your first away series, not necessarily ideal because it's a good program too. But it's not the juggernaut and the gauntlet that it was last year, where it was very difficult and then it got easier towards the end. This year, you're going to take those lumps, you're going to learn those lessons, and then by the time you're playing these better teams and you're competing for seeding in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, you're playing your best baseball. So I think that's interesting.
You brought up one series. There's 2 of them. Like, look, I know I had a viral clip and people got mad at me for this. You going to send LSU to Texas when they've been there the last 2 out of 3 years?
Yeah.
And you're going to send them there for another weekend series? See, people got mad at me not understanding what I was trying to say because they don't follow it like us, because they're idiots. But it comes to a point where I want to go off in there. Like, that's a weekend series I want. I want that then, now. Yeah. We go in Austin, we whip that ass. And, I'm just being honest. You going to South Carolina? I want to beat Paul Maneri down.
Yeah.
Like, I do not – look, man, he was up in the press box last year. I don't know if you ever saw this. The TV copy. He's up there in the booth, and he says that, yeah, guys, y'all know that half that roster was my roster that Jay won a national championship with. Okay, you're going to find out. You're gonna find out. By the way, we went to Carolina 2 years ago. Why are we going back there? This scheduling for the SEC, even though favorable, it drives me insane. Why LSU got to go on the road to Texas and Oklahoma? We just gonna pander to them?
I get what you're saying. I do. I mean, you're the new guys on the block. You should have to have it more difficult.
I mean, come on. It's unwritten rules. I mean, I know it's a silly thing to get upset about, but nevertheless. All right. John Eads, WAFB. Good evening, good sir. Friday is almost here.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. Seriously.
It's funny. I'm glad that Jay Johnson did not move this game up to 2 because of weather. Didn't happen. It's Valentine's Day, baby. Jay knows. Jay knows.
You got a huge gymnastics meet, too, 1 against 2, LSU, Oklahoma,
Correct.
at night after that. So, man, it's going to be loaded on campus, dog.
It will be. John Eads, WAFB. Good evening, good sir. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, that's John Eads, WAFB. Always fantastic. All right, one final thing before we get out of here is my phone has been buzzing like a vibrator with a single woman on Valentine's Day. I just got sent something. Why in the hell we have people out there sharing stuff on these websites that could get LSU in trouble? Are you that dumb? At least 4 of you have DM'd me during the show, and at least 3 of you have texted me during the show saying, have you seen this? No, I don't. I haven't seen it. And every time y'all send it to me, I know I hadn't seen it. Everybody said, hey, man, you seen this? Everybody says this. Why you have to provide teams and why you have to provide a case against yourself is outright idiotic. You need to be like the mafia and shut up. Guys, we have people out here during the new NIL era that feel like they're involved in the NIL space and what they do, and they will call out stupid shit like LSU doing things potentially and allegedly, because I'd have no idea, and I'm saying allegedly, what they're doing behind the scenes. You are a blithering idiot. If you think that you can run on a website and do that, are you like, what are we doing? Brother, sisters, I love this place more than anything in the world. I love LSU athletics, sports, what have you. Love it to death. It's in my blood. It's in my bones. It's what I do for a living. What I chose for myself. And you're going to sit here and like, brother, what are we doing? I keep seeing this stuff about people in the NIL space talking about us tampering. Shut up. God. Childish ass shit. All right. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good one. Peace.